country which is called Slovenia. I have a very, very short break here. And before starting, I just want to let you know that I'm from a country which is infamous across the world now because the government is trying to ruin actually access to the internet by hunting down a very popular messenger which is called Telegram. And it's a very hilarious story when we can see a fairly developed, let's say, segment of the internet being ruined and derailed by the government, which was stupid enough to imagine that they can actually shut down a free and uncensored internet service in the country. A very nice story, let me assure you, and we enjoyed it thoroughly. Anyway, today can you hear me okay? Just to make sure. Okay. So today we will be talking a little bit about domains, and as you can see, I gave the title to my presentation, Working Around the Domain World. And this presentation will be on the known knowledge, because some parts of this presentation will be very familiar to you. And I believe that I will not go much into details because everybody will see that he or she knows some facts. Yet, I believe that there are certain things which we should touch on, simply because it might be interesting and important to know in the context of internet governance. Next slide, please. So, as you can see, I am General Manager of APTLD, and you may wonder what APTLD stands for. This is Asia Pacific Top Level Domain Association. Domains a little bit later, but for now you can see that the region we cover is not that typical Asia and Pacific. It also includes Middle East and those Gulf states. So our region is really huge. Can you just get me a next slide, please? Thank you. So we are a non-profit, non-governmental association. We have 60 members, as you can see. And we also have those members from A to Z, which means it covers the whole Latin alphabet, English alphabet. And we also have some members who do not belong in this region, like Russia or Belarus or some other countries, even Mexico. But still, they are members because they feel the importance of getting associated with other organizations which do the similar job. And we have very small members. Some of them are very small, from, let's say, Southern Pacific Islands, to some giant members whose top-level domains have more than 20 million registrations. And they differ also in terms of, let's say, ownership format, because some of them belong to universities, and as such, they are non-for-profits and non-governmental, but others might as well be governmental organizations, like, for example, in Afghanistan. And we are just 60% of the global population. And interestingly, our mission is very narrow. While you might think that they are really big, but no, we do only domain names. And let's now turn to domain names. Next slide, please. So, what is domain name? You can see the definition on the screen. It might seem to you a little bit sophisticated, but let's imagine, for example, the National Information Center for Afghanistan, and they have many, many computers to keep it running. So all those computers will belong or just share the same Internet protocol address so that they could work as one. And they are in the same domain. And let's talk about those domains in terms of domain names, because a name is what can identify, what can differ that domain from all other domains on the Internet. So that domain name can be between 3 to 63 characters, which is important. You cannot make that domain name more than 63 characters. So that includes letters and digits and also hyphens. But it cannot start and end with hyphens. That is also a very important limitation. And then I put, for some slides, and for this one in particular, I put a hard fact which you might find interesting. What you can see is believed, in blue, is believed to be the world's longest domain name. So it includes 63 characters in general, before that dot and com. So that is the longest domain. Next, please. But things on the Internet do not necessarily look like they really look in life. So when you see that domain name, do not trust your eyes, because basically domains are, as unique identifiers, are just sets of figures, and you can see those figures on the screen. And those figures matter something. And these figures, basically, as you can see, the first figures on the screen, 103, is just the identification or prefix of the network on which this domain, www.nic.af, sits on, while all other figures are unique numbers for the host or the major node of this National Information Center of Afghanistan. You can always check how this or that domain name or domain looks like on the Internet. I put here a special website where you can check how your beloved domains look like. So why such a difference? It's simple. You cannot memorize all these sets of figures or digits for your favorite domains. Instead, some smart guys invented domain names so that you can easily memorize those and find your famous domain, or favorite domain, whether Facebook or otherwise, which is very easy to do with words, but not figures, not digits. And that makes it really easier for you to surf the Internet. Next, please. Can you hear me? Yeah, okay. So when you see a domain name and you may wonder what it means, so I put here the example of, once again, of nic.af, what it means, and what one of those subpages mean. I wouldn't really go much into detail, but I would just draw your attention to the fourth line from the top. So you can see .af, it's called top level domain, right? So that's what actually we will be talking about. While NIC is called second level domain. So whatever is left of the .af will be called second level domains. Next, please. So very often, some people confuse domains and websites. You know, in our ordinary life, and being really busy with many things, we really can confuse them in our while talking to each other. Like, have you seen that domain, or have you seen that website? It sounds practically similarly to us, but in reality, these are different things. As one domain can be host or home to many websites, And you can see it from bare statistics. As we have now more than 330 million domains on the internet and nearly 2 billion websites, it's clear that there is a huge difference between domains and websites, at least the numbers. And there is a very interesting source which I put here. You can see the website, which sits on internetlivestats.com. If you try to access that website, it will show you real time how websites grow across the world, like figures changing every second. Next slide, please. Interesting question is usually we hear people speak like, I found and bought a very interesting domain for myself, whatever. Indeed, you can buy domains, so they are kind of property. But basically, you don't buy a domain itself. What you buy is a right to temporarily administer that domain, operate that domain. Because if you do not renew it, if you do not pay that price or lower price next year, then you will lose that domain and it will go back to the market. It could be in 1 year, a 1 year subscription for that domain, or 2 years, or even 10 years, but it doesn't really matter because in most of cases, you will simply lose that domain if you do not renew the subscription for it. Well, as you can see, domains sometimes can be a very, very profitable business. You see that the most expensive domain sold ever was insurance.com. And we will talk about that domain business a little bit, domain names business a little bit. So they can bring you a really big buck. Next, please. Oh, well, on the internet, as you can see, with all the combinations of all the allowed characters, figures, and all possible length of domain, you can get a stunning number of domain names available. Well, some of them busy. I mean, we just agreed that there are 330 million domain names already bought or otherwise owned on the internet. But still, the figure is so huge that you can come up with your absolutely creative and innovative approach and find a really good domain or domains for yourself. Next, please. But not all of them available. None of them are available simply because there are certain limitations, and those limitations are introduced by top-level domain administrators who set rules for domain names operation within their top-level domain. So you can see that, for example, for Afghanistan, for .af, you cannot put domains which display some sexually offensive contents or which somehow are associated with tools that allows one to send spam or any other activities. I mean, if domain names refer to any activities which are illegal under the local law, then you will not be able to register to buy that subscription for that particular domain name. And there are some technical limitations as well. These, of course, let's say, legal and technical limitations can vary from one top-level domain operator to another, but they are practically the same because, for example, you can hardly register a domain name across the world which will be associated with fascism. That would be hardly impossible. Or racism, or child abuse, molestation. That might not be possible. I don't think so. Anyway, so yet another important limitation that you will find it really, really hard to register a domain name which would infringe rights of some trademark owners or holders. And they are very, very sensitive about that. So if you try to do that with Coca-Cola or, I don't know, Microsoft or any other company, so then you should expect that you will be taken, I mean, you will be made responsible for that, and somehow you will be, that right to operate the domain will be taken from you. Next, please. So, domains, of course, are organized in a very special way because things should be put in order. You would agree with me because domains are important for the internet. They are a very vital part of the internet. As I put here, a part of this skeleton, which basically keeps the internet together, and the flesh on its bones, because domains basically help us identify, search and identify certain content. And the content is what the internet is about, as you heard from Satish. So we all need to know what is going on the internet. So these domains are arranged in a hierarchical order. Bottom up, you can see that there might be third level domain names, there might be second level domains, and next slide please, top level domains. On the top of the pyramid, there are top level domains, and as you may recall, my association is called Asia Pacific Top Level Domain Association. So we unite only top level domain administrators, but of a very special kind only, because top level domains are of different classes. As you can see, there is infrastructure, just one of them. Also, there is a testing top level domain, also one of them. Then there are restricted top level domains, which are for special use only, and that means that you cannot buy easily, at least, a domain name there. There are also country codes TLDs, and that's exactly what APTLD is about, because we unite certain country code top level domain operators. For Afghanistan, it's .af. We will talk about that a little bit. For Russia, it's .ru, and so on. And there are also legacy generic TLDs. You know them very well because that's the most popular extensions in the world, and that's .com, .org, .net. And there are also internationalized top-level domains which were introduced back in the year 2009, because they, speaking of all other domains, they are based on the Latin alphabet, which is called ASCII. Well, this is a very special effort. But those internationalized domains are called non-ASCII, which means they are not based on the Latin script. As you can see, I gave you a couple of examples. So one of them, the first one, is Georgian IDN, and the other one is Chinese IDN. Just make a special mental note that there are still two characters after the dot. This is very important. And we also have new GTLDs, which were introduced like several years ago, and there are more than 1,000 of them, and they can be both ASCII and IDNs, which means Latin and non-Latin script based. As you can see, I even put a special one in that Arabic script for you to better understand. And interestingly, these new GTLDs can be, as you can see after the dot, there are more than two characters, like bank, like hotel. So that differs then from the so-called old top-level domain. Next question. Oh, sorry, next slide, please. So, an interesting question. If we have so many domains, if we have so many organizations that administer them, who sets the rules on this market? Because that's the internet, after all. So the answer is simple. Since 1998, that's ICANN, the Internet Corporation for Assigned Names and Numbers. Another interesting fact is that this organization is not an international organization. It's not a UN organization. It's a non-profit, private, which means non-governmental organization, and it is based in California. And that organization was not created before domains were created. As you can see, the first domain was registered back in 1985. But over time, the US government decided that there should be a private corporation to address these issues of domain name business. And that, of course, gave rise to a lot of consequences. Legal, jurisdictional, transporter, and even international, because many governments, like for example, the Russian government or the Chinese government, are very unhappy about the fact that the Internet, as they understand it, because they can see domains and they think that domains are the Internet. So the Internet, they believe, is run by an American corporation, which means by the United States. And that, of course, generates a lot of tensions on the international level between governments. Next, please. An interesting question, who actually can do transactions with domains? Who can buy and sell domains on the market? Well, .af or .ru or many other top-level domain administrators are not necessarily involved in that business because their business is a little bit different. They gotta make sure that the Internet works, that the domain, the national domain, the country top-level domain is accessible at any times, and that connectivity, even connectivity, sometimes is their business, that connectivity is okay. But of course, there are special commercial entities which sell domains on the market. They, let's say, buy it, they acquire that from the top-level domain administrator for a fee, and then they sell it for a good buck, sometimes, as we know, if they're really lucky, on the market. But there are also some private persons who buy and sell domains, and they are called domainers. When we talk about those registrars for commercial companies, the biggest one is verisign.com. I've just seen, by the way, their report for the first quarter of year 2018. So for now, they have 148 million domains under operation in their portfolio, both .com and .net. Even if those domains cost like $5 a piece, so you will see that VeriSign, and VeriSign does a lot of other things. VeriSign is a very profitable business. And the biggest registrar is, the biggest TLD operator, I'm sorry, I just confused the thing. So VeriSign is the biggest administrator of the top-level domain. Meanwhile, the biggest registrar, the company which sells domains on the market, is a very famous company called GoDaddy. If you ever tried Super Bowl, I don't know if you're fans of American football, me not, but anyway, so if you try Super Bowl, you would absolutely 100% see GoDaddy's commercials. And you know that for Super Bowl finals, it would be only a very, very rich company that can buy a minute, which can cost up to $30 million, just 1 minute, for to post those commercials during the Super Bowl games. So as you can see, GoDaddy is a very, very big company. They have more than 6,000 employees across the world. And the most successful domainer of all times, as you can see, is some Chinese guy who lives in Canada, in Vancouver, And for now, he boasts like $300 million fortune. Next, please. Well, are you safe in this domain name space? Well, of course there is a lot of crime there. But when you have big money, revolving there, of course there will be all kinds of criminals. So you have heard probably about certain things, like for example spamming or cyber squatting or phishing and DOS and DDoS, of course. So that is all about domain name business, of course. And I put here an interesting resource for you. So you can see live, for example, where DDoS attacks are happening really live at this very minute. So you can check that website and you can see how dangerous that place is, just because it involves a lot of people, a lot of businesses, a lot of interests, and a lot of money, of course. Next, please. Interesting question about country code top-level domains like .af or .ru for Russia or .cm. Is it a part of the state, let's say, sovereignty, like the flag or the national anthem or whatever? Well, in some sense, we must say that the International Standards Organization many years ago, when there was no internet and no domains, had assigned those two-character country codes, and they're called Alpha 2, because there are also Alpha 3, to each country and territory, including those countries and territories which were non-existent at that time. For example, there was USSR and there was no Russia, but still those combinations of two characters. Remember that those old top-level domains always have two characters after the dot. So they were reserved exclusively for the existing and the future countries and territories, and they were not allowed, and still are not allowed, by and large, on the market. But the problem is, interestingly, that no, those country codes do not belong to states. So whenever the state claims that, give us back our country code, well, that's not the fact, because it was just assigned to identify the country, but it's not a part of their sovereignty. You may Google Israel versus Iran.ir case, in which you can see that the case was referred to the United States court, and the court, which at that time, at the beginning of the internet, at the beginning of ICANN, had no idea what those top-level domains stood for, basically based its decision on the ICANN's advice. And ICANN's legal advice was that while these country codes have been assigned to the sovereign states, still they cannot be considered their property. And indeed, as you can see, I put that artifact in blue. Imagine a country like Turkmenistan with a very, very nice two-character extension, which is .tm, which stands for trademark. Imagine how many companies would love to have it for their domain names, like for example, Microsoft.tm or Intel.tm. And imagine that that domain .tm does not belong to the government of Turkmenistan. In other words, the government has no control over that .tm because it belongs and is operated to some murky company in Great Britain, and that company obviously makes a fortune because every domain, second-level domain, whether Microsoft.tm or Intel.tm, costs $1,000 for 10 years to own. Same situation with Pakistan, although things are changing, or with the small Pacific island Tonga. So those domains were stolen or hijacked from them, and I cannot do anything about that because that's a sovereign, well, in a sense, a sovereign matter, and they cannot just decide for businesses and governments how that matter should be solved. And that brings us to the issue whether domains are all about internet governance. Yes, they are, because they are woven into the fabric of internet governance. And they involve different stakeholders. In the case of .tm or .pt for Pakistan, obviously these are businesses on the one side and governments on the other side, and end users, because end users suffer as well. For example, in Turkmenistan, you cannot, if you are a Turkmen citizen, you cannot get a second level domain, like for example, Abdullah.tm. You can only get a third level domain, which is in a sense some discrimination. Well, if you're a British company, you can easily get a second level domain, which is unfair. Next, please. So, an interesting question which you may ask yourselves is whether domains are staying on in the future. And it's a big question for this industry because, you know, it's our bread and butter after all. For example, if there are no domains, there are no top-level domains, then I'm jobless. And I don't want to lose my job because this is a very exciting job. And yes, in a sense, there are speculations that social media and tech, different tech giants like Google and some technical solutions, especially blockchain, and even Internet of Things, and we can talk about at length, but we won't, will eventually kill our business. Well, that may well happen, but not for now, because for example, Facebook has just compromised itself over the issue of privacy. And that made it clear for many people who would set their pages on the internet to promote their businesses that perhaps Facebook is not as good as it was portrayed, and perhaps it's time to buy one's own domain name so that to make it somehow identify one's and it would be safer, and that one would be in control of his or her identifier. Meanwhile, the Internet of Things, think for a moment. Yes, it may kill domains because, well, they may not be necessarily needed under the Internet of Things, which is going to be everywhere and which is going to connect all the objects. But on the other hand, imagine, for example, your house, and for that house, you yourself will get a top-level domain names. For example, your name is Abdullah Omar, and that means that after the dot, that will be Abdullah Omar house. And then whatever it is in the house, for example, your refrigerator or your TV set, will be given second-level domain, and second-level domain names. I mean, and it will be yourself who will do that, and then whatever yogurt is in your fridge will be given its third-level domain. For example, yogurt.refrigerator.abdullah-omar-house. And that means that all the objects will be interconnected using that domain name system. Because, as you can see, for now, you have 360 million IP addresses available to you only. So, of course, through all your life, even every plastic bag you use, you will be given it a domain name. you will still you won't still be short of domain names just for yourself. So let's hope that the domain industry will thrive, and so will we under that. Next, please. And that's the end of my presentation. I did my best to put something in Pushto for you. Thank you very much, and I'm ready to take questions. Yes, please. Ready? I'm sorry. Let me just see if I can see that question. Okay. Hold on a second. So the question is, we have created a domain using the Microsoft server in our local network at our office, so that we create a domain environment at our office and connect all our users. What if we decide to make that online, while we would like to host our website and our home servers locally? Well, seriously, for now, I don't see a problem, because we may be confusing certain things. Well, you were using the Microsoft server, which means that you created that domain in the cloud, right? In the Microsoft cloud. But you want to just so you want to transfer to your own servers. Well, so what seems to be the problem? As long as you bought that subscription to your domain, it means that you're in control of that domain, and you can change the hosting if you like, except for if you create that domain, for example, in .af zone, then the problem is that you cannot easily transfer it to .ru zone. You will have to buy another domain name for yourself in that .ru. So as long as your domain doesn't end with .microsoft, you are in full control of your domain. And the problem of hosting, of course, is different from the problem of domain name itself. I don't know if I was consistent enough, that would serve as an explanation. Okay? FPK and RU are geographic domain name extensions. Why do we need to use their usage? Oh, good question. Well, it doesn't mean that you must use these extensions. Not at all. But, and this is a very interesting question for us as country code top-level domain operators, administrators, because yes, for now, we enter a very fierce competition with many new commercial top-level domains like .bank or .hotel and whatsoever. It's a huge problem because, for example, in some countries, it's a matter of national pride for its citizens to use the national extension, the country code, the top-level domain extension, like .ru. But it may also happen that in certain countries, those domains cost a lot, like for example, $50 a piece. Meanwhile, you can buy .com domain for $5. And then the question is, what I, as a citizen, as a resident of that country, would prefer? It's a big question for us. Understandably, these generic or commercial top-level domains introduce competition on the market, and then we, as country codes, should do our best to convince our citizens, our residents, that you should go for our domains. So, as a citizen of Afghanistan, it does not necessarily mean that you should buy that .af name. Although in some countries, like I don't know, in China, for example, where the regime is very strict, if you're a government agency or even quasi-government, or if you want to be associated with government somehow, then of course you would go and buy .cn, because otherwise you would be frowned at. But for example, for the country like United Arab Emirates, typically, if you want to start a business there and you register your company there, which is very easy, you will be already given, it's like a bundled package, you will be already given a domain name, which I think is a very good example. So that means that you do not pay for your domain name, you get it right away. And then you become loyal to .ae, the country code extension for Arab Emirates. So, just to recap, it does not necessarily mean that you should go after the country code top level extension. You can choose from whatever you like. But on the other hand, we as country code top level operators are very, very keen to make sure that you would switch to our extension. And we can do it with a different degree of success, of course. So, these domains are our, once again, bread and butter and the sense of our life. So please register .af after all. Thank you. Sure, please go ahead with the question. Okay, let's have that person writing, yeah. While Walid is typing, back to those to that question about the relevance of top-level domains, I mean country code top-level domains, you might find it interesting fact that, for example, in the Netherlands, the national administrator, the national domain administrator, has just recently run a survey on the national business. And the results were quite interesting because they found out that the national business, the overwhelming majority of them, prefers .nl to any other extension. Okay, so the question. First of all, thanks, and after that, I have a question about FTLD. We know that GTLD, generic top-level domain, but we do not know about I'm sorry, I'm not so sure about what APTOP stands for. APTOP. Question about APTOP. Oh, well, it's an interesting story with APTOP. I was not there from the very beginning because the association was created in 1998. And what I heard from veterans, at that time, they were really, really afraid of ICANN taking control over the domain space, like, in a sense, like ICANN will order them what to do. And they created an association just to make sure that they are protected as a group. Interestingly, that association is one of those 4 sister associations which exist today in the world. One of them, similar to ours, is in Latin America and the Caribbean islands. The other one is for Africa. The third one is for Europe, and we are the 4th one. And also, there is no such an association in North America, understandably, because there are 2 countries only, the United States and Canada, and it would be quite irrelevant there, particularly because Americans, interestingly, do not favor .us. You wouldn't really hear much about .us. They like .com and sincerely believe that that commercial top-level domain is the real domain for the United States. So APTLD, as I said, unites 60 members, and some of them are not necessarily located in Asia Pacific. They are located elsewhere, but they still want to join our association, but then they can be only associate members, which means that they cannot vote at the board election, and they cannot be elected to the board. So our association has the board as the top decision-making body, and the board picks a general manager who basically operates, who runs the APTLD's operation. We have very small number of officers. For example, I myself, as general manager, I reside in Moscow, Russia. Secretariat is located in Beijing, China. Accounts and finance in Hong Kong, and our researcher is based in Brisbane, Australia. So as you can see, we are scattered across the Pacific, and I see my staff only twice a year when the association holds its biannual meetings. And I guess it's quite good, because then we don't need to bicker or don't need to argue, and we communicate only by email and Skype and phone and messengers, whatever. Of course, it's a problem with China, because they banned all those Western messengers, and there are problems with Skype. But otherwise, it's okay. And the board, there are 8 people on the board, 8 individuals, and they are elected by members themselves. We have democratic election, and every year 4 board members should go, and 4 new board members are coming. I mean, of course, they can be re-elected, no problem, but they still have to stand the election. So this is a fairly democratic process in which .af as a member takes part. And you may also ask a question about money. Well, we live on our members' fees, which means that members pay their fees on an annual basis, and those fees, of course, vary from very small amounts. Like for a small organization with very few registrations for second-level domains, they pay like $150 US. And the biggest members, like for example China or Korea or Japan or Australia, so they pay a stunning amount, $25,000 in membership fees. And that money goes into the kind of melting pot from where that money is spent on, of course, association in the first place, and on its staff and its activities. And I'm happy to let you know that, for example, we have special fellowships for our members. So every year we award more than 12 fellowships to our members to go to our meetings or to go to some other meetings and take part in different events across the world. Also, we frequently ask that question to our members: are you happy with the level of services we provide to you, which is information exchange and knowledge sharing, and also technical assistance and capacity building projects? And the answer so far was yes, because 70% of our members are quite happy about what we do for them. Another 30% went absolutely silent, which probably means that by default they're happy as long as they pay their membership fees. So that's in short how the association works, but you can also go for aptlp.org, O-R-G, to check what is our association about. Thank you. Oh, thank you for complimenting me. Well, it was not me who learned that Pashto language. It is actually Google Translate. I'm so sorry for that. I'm very happy. Thank you very much for staying with me, for bearing with me. And it's our pleasure, as long as .af is our member. We are always happy to have .af be a part of this exciting thing which is called Internet Governance School. And it will be my pleasure to extend our support in whatever way. Once again, I'm so sorry that I couldn't be with you, but you understand that unfortunately, it's not yet time for us to come over in person. But I still believe that going to happen one day. So I wish you best of luck and a lot of interesting sessions. Thank you very, very much. Goodbye.
ثانیاً به خاطر از این روز ما بالای DNS صحبت می‌کردیم، Domain Name System, right? Domain Name System کارش است که تمام دومینایی که در تمام جهان جور شده باید پیش خود یک رجستریش نگاه کنن. شما به طور مثال abc.com یا abc.something جور کنید، abc.af جور کنید، abc.test جور کنید و پیش من اینو نگاه کنید در داخل دفترتون، داخل لوکل نتورکتون. بعد شما اینو می‌خواید که پابلیک بسازید که همه جور اکسس داشته باشن. من نمیخوایم abc.com یا abc.test هر چیزی که هست او در نتورک داخلی پیش شما باشد. خب اینا که شما abc.test جور کرده باشین و در یک مملکت دیگه یک نفر دیگه هم abc.test داشته باشن، اینا اینجا کانفلیکت می‌کنه. در این حالت باید یک ارگان باشه، یک سیستم باشه که رجستری تمام abc.test هایی که در تمام دنیا است پیش خود نگاه کنن، پیش خود داشته باشه. وقتی که شما abc.test میخوایم رجستر کنیم، آنلاین بسازیم، یک ارگان باشه که به شما معلومات بده که شما abc.test استفاده کردن نمیتونید، چرا که abc.test قبل یک نفر دیگه استفاده کردن میکنه. اینا به خاطر از اینکه شما این abc.test تان به حساب فعال شوه و شما ازش استفاده کنید، شما چی کردن میتونید؟ اگر .af میخواید پیش وزارت مخابرات میرید، در ریاست سایبر سکیوریتی و مدیریت .af abc.af شما اونجا رجستر میکنید. فقط سروری که شما جور کردید و این سروری که آنلاین ساختید، URL این سرور یا می آدرس این سرور که شما جور کردید در DNS فارواردینگ زون که است یا چپل ای که است، الایس که جور میکنید در اون قسمت برای آدرس میکنید. شما وقتی که DNS ریزالف میخواید بکنید، هر قسمت دنیا میخواستن DNS ریزالف بکنن، شما اینی آی پی آدرس رو بگید که به اینی آی پی آدرس اینا رو جور بکنن. چون قبل ما شما گفتیم کامپیوترها بالای نیم کار کردن میتونن، اونا بالای آی پی آدرس هم دیگه صحبت کردن میتونن. اینا وقتی که یک نفر به طور مثال abc.test که پیش شما است از امریکا بخواد اکسس بکنه، در این حالت او آدم در امریکا است و تنها سرورهای که امریکا است او برش جواب داده میکنن. اینا معلومات abc.test که شما جور کردین که سرورهای امریکا نباشه، سرورهای امریکا چطور میتونه که رفت از افغانستان بیاره و با بگه که وبسایت از داخل ارگان فلان نفر شما باز کردن میکنه. در این حالت باید abc.test که شما جور میکنین همراه آی پی آدرس که شما این را فعال ساختین، پابلیک آی پی آدرس و میخواین DNS را ریزالف بکنه، باید همراه یک رجستر که تمام دنیا را کنترل میکنه، همراه از باید رجستر بکنید و می آی پی آدرس سرور کنه به اونا بگوید که هر وقت هر کسی خواست abc.test را ریزالف بکنه، شما راجعش بسازین به این سرور، کی سرور پیش شما هست، اینی آی پی آدرس، کی آی پی آدرس پیش شما هست. باز بعد از اون میتونید که شما استفاده کنید.
سوال من همینجا بود، دقیقاً که وقتی ما اینا میسازیم چطور میشه از اپلیکیشن میشه پیچه؟ آیا اینا به این روند کار میکنن که مثلا کسی میسازن بهش یا رجستر شده باشه یا سازمانی که میگه رجستر بکنن کسی دیگه ریزالف نکنن دیگه؟ همین موضوع.
اینا APTLD که است، Asia Pacific Top Level Domain که مقر اصلیش در روسیه هست، اینا کارشان فقط که CCTLD است. وقتی که سر دومین ما صحبت میکنیم، ما دومین داریم TLD Top Level Domain cast.com.edu.info. بعد داریم ما Sub Level Domain، در Sub Level Domain ما شما داریم something.com, something.info, something.edu. و سپس ما داریم CCTLD Country Code Top Level Domain. اینا در CCTLD یا Country Code Top Level Domain .af, .pk, .in, .ir که از ایران است، .us که از امریکا است، این تمام در جمله CCTLD میمونه. Country Code Top Level Domain. این دومین ها هستن که مربوط به یک مملکت میشن که از ما و شما .af هستن. درست؟ APTLD که هست یک اسوسییشن است که تمام دومین های تاپ Country Code Top Level Domain هایی که در آسیا است، مربوط به آسیا میشه یا ایشیا پاسیفیک میشه، همراه اینا یک کوردینیشن میکنن، یک هماهنگ میکنن تا اینکه پروبلمایی که با اونا ایجاد میشن پروبلم‌ها رو حل بکنن و در ضمن یک پلتفرم با اینا ایجاد میکنن که سر پالیسی لیول یا صحبت بکنن که در این ممالک از استرالیا، افغانستان، پاکستان، اینجا این ممالک در آسیا هستن و در ضمن امرای پاسیفیک اوشن ارتباط دارن مثل استرالیا و دیگر بعضی از جزایر که بین استرالیا و چی هست استرالیا و آسیا هستن این تمامش این کنترل میکنه این BTD کنترل نمیکنه به صورت پلتفرم باشم ایجاد میکنه بیاین سر این موضوع صحبت بکنن اینا موضوع از این آمد که تمام دومینا به شکل رجیستر میباشن برای از او تمام دومینا به خاطر از او آیکن است Internet Corporation for Assigned Names and Numbers خود نام آیکن نشاندهی از این میکنه که Internet Corporation for Assigned Names and Numbers Names and Numbers وقتی که ما گفتیم Names اینجا منظور ما از دومین نیم هستن و Numbers منظور ما از IP آدرس ها و Autonomous System Number هستن که IP آدرس کل ما و شما کسایی که تکنیکی هستن میکنن و Autonomous System Number هر ریجن، هر منطقه یا هر ISP که موجود میشه باید یک سیستم Autonomous System Number بگیره اینا آیکن چی میکنن؟ به خاطر نمبرها یا البته به خاطر دومین به خاطر نمبر خب به خاطر دومین یا رجیسترار می داشته باشن مثلا یک رجیسترار کلان کامرای آیکن چیسته ارتباط داره کمیان نامش رو یاد کردن به نام گودگی رو کام همه گیشایشونی داره میشه درست؟ یا هوست گیتر هوست گیست هم یک نام هست در مسئول اینا رجیسترار کلان هستن یا امرای آیکن در ارتباط هستن شما وقتی که میخوان یک دومین رو رجیستر کنین امرای اینا رو رجیستر میکنین و اونا امرای آیکن باز امی دومینی که شما رجیستر کردین هماهنگ میسازشانن تا این که ما قبلا گفتیم در بسته دنیا تمام دنیا ما 13 روت سرور داریم این 13 روت سرور معلومات تمام دومینای تمام دنیا رو پیش خود داشته میباشن و نیاز است که باید داشته باشن تا که بالاخره دومینایی که در افغانستان جور شده دومینایی که در استرالیا جور شده دومینایی که در آسیا جور شدن در اروپا جور شدن این تمامش بیاین بالاخره در یک جای با یکدیگر مرد شوند و یک نفر باشه که برای زیاد بگوید که فلان دومینه که در استرالیا تو میخوای رجیستر کنی توی در افغانستان رجیستر کردن نمیتونی چرا پیش من این معلوماتش هست در فلان جای فلان نفری را رجیستر کردن اینا آیکن از طریق چی کردن میکنن؟ از طریق رجیسترار خود که godaddy.com و چی هستن؟ هوستگیتر و بعد از رجیسترهای کلان هستن سر IP آدرس چی میکنه آیکن؟ سر IP آدرس آیکن بسته دنیا را به 5 منطقه تقسیم کردن که ما و شما مربوط ایشیا پاسیفیک میشه اینا IP آدرس های ایشیا پاسیفیک کی توضیح میکنن؟ IP آدرس های ایشیا پاسیفیک APNIC Asia Pacific Information Center Asia Pacific Regional Information Center or something like that Asia Pacific Information Center something like that مقر ازی در استرالیا هستن RNCC یا لکنک آراین یا چیای هستن ارگانای هستن که در ممالک در ممورجنای مختلف دیگه که خود آیکن یا تقسیم بندی کرده در اونجا یا فعالیت دارن و ممالکی که مربوط اونا میشه اونا رو تحت پوشش خود قرار میدن. دیگه کدام سواله؟ خب یکی از اسپیکرهای ما لیو درباره CCTLD صحبت کردن درست؟ in general CCTLD که مربوط به یک مملکت مشخص نمیشد CCTLD که مربوط تمام امیرجن میشد. ما یک اسپیکر بعدی داریم خانم نادیه هاشمی که از مدیریت .AF ریاست سایبر سکیوریتی وزارت مخابرات هستند. تا جایی که چند دقیقه پیش ما اپدیت شدیم اونا در میرابندان شهر کابل بند موندن. رابندان میفهمین کلگیره حالا امروز میگن کدام حادثه هم شده یک دو دانه دیگه راه مسدود است. با امید از اینکه ما او را تا یک ساعت یا نیم ساعت دیگه داشته باشیم ولی تا او وقت یک مگذره معلومات که برتان ما دادم میتونم چون که من نمایندگی از مخابرات نمیکنم از او زیاد معلومات برتان نمیتم. افغانستان CCTLD.AF است کنترل ای در سال 1996 از طرف آیانا به یک نفر تسلیم داده شده بود. یک افغان بود. او وقت زمان طالبا بود و طالبا خودشان اینجا میگفتن که اینترنت باید پیش هیچ کس نباشه چی حاجت به اینکه ما افغانستان CCTLD داشته بوده باشه. ولی چون اونا به حساب خود آیکن وقتی که سر از این موضوعات آمد که باید تاپ لیول کانتری کد تاپ لیول دومین به ممالکش تسلیم کنه و از افغانستان هیچ کس پیش نشد که به ما .AF بتین همراه یک نفر که نامش فراموشم شده ولی نفر بود که نمایندگی از حکومت افغانستان نمیکرد، برشان چی داده بودن؟ دات تسلیم کرده بودن. بعداً در سالهای 2002 یا 2003 وقتی که حکومت ترانزیشن صورت گرفته بود، نه حکومت موقتی که بود، در اون وقت وزیر مخابرات استانگزای صاحب بودن، فعلا رئیس امنیت کسان اگر نامش غلط نگرفته باشم، استانگزای هست فکر کنم نامشان. اونا وزیر مخابرات تو وقت بودن. اینا خواستن که می دات ایف ترانسفر کنن و کنترلش تحت MCIT بیارن، وزارت مخابرات بیارن، که آیانا پس در جواب مکتوبشان باشون گفته بود که ما به فلان نفر چی کردیم، تسلیم کرده بودیم. اگر خود اون نفر به ما در مکتوبتان یک جواب یا یک امضا یک چیز بکنه، ما اینو با شما تسلیم میکنیم. که بالاخره یا با کمک USAID نمیفهمم یا کدام ارگان کمرایشون کار میکرد، با کمک اونا تانستن که امی چی رو بگیرن، دات ایف یک مکتوب جور کن از طرف مو آدم پیدایش کرده بودن، امضایش گرفته بودن و گفته بودن که اون نفر گفته بود در مکتوب خود که ما دات ایف شما میتونید که دات ایف امی ترانسفرش به حکومت افغانستان بکنید، چون حکومت افغانستان به پای اقتصاد هستن. و اون وقت بود که در سالهای 2002 یا 2003 دات ایف تحت کنترل حکومت افغانستان آمد و برایش یک مدیریت جور کردن. تا چند وقت پیش دات ایف که بود $50 سالانه هزینه داشت. وقتی که شما می‌خواستین یک دومین دات ایف بگیرین $50 هزینه داشتن، ولی دمی یک ماه گذشته فکر کنم حدس بزنم که قیمتاش پایان آمده. چقدر پایان آمده، چقدر کاهش یافته ما هم نمی‌فهمیم. از این خاطر خانم نادیه هاشمی را خواستیم با خود داشته باشیم که انشالله در یک چند دقیقه دیگه شاید همراه ما باشن. خب سوالایی که شما شاید از خانم نادیه هاشمی داشته باشین و بکنین، یک، ما چقدر تا به حال افغانستان چقدر قادر به این شده که CCTLD را به فروش برسانه؟ آیا این CCTLD هایی که ما به فروش رساندیم داخل افغانستان تنها بوده یا خارج از افغانستان هم فروختیم؟ این CCTLD ها را فقط افغان ها استفاده میکنن یا خارجی هم به حساب تقاضا کردن که ما میخوایم دات ایف دومین داشته باشیم؟ خارجی ها چی وقت تقاضا کردن میتونن؟ فکر کنین ما و شما یک CCTLD داریم .tv، شاید زیاد شنیده باشه، نه؟ Geo.tv به طور مثال، یا Tolo.tv یا Ariana.tv، Ariana.news.tv که از این مخفف به خاطر از این جور نشده که یک تلویزیون ایره به خود بگیره. .tv اصلا یک CCTLD، یک برازم بسیار، یک جزیره بسیار خرد در یکی از قسمت‌های امریکا یا استرالیا فکر کنم است، که نام مملکتش وقتی که ما شارت کنیم این .tv رو به ما میده. این حال ما هر وقتی که میخوایم یک تلویزیون جور کنیم، یک چینل تلویزیونی داشته باشیم و وبسایت برای لایو کنیم، ما میتونیم که از CCTLD اونا به خاطر همین وبسایت خود استفاده کنیم. این حال کی میفهمه که .af هم یک چی داشته باشه، یک یوزج داشته باشه. یک چند سال پیش کسایی که همراه نیوز یا یک مگز ارتباط داشته باشن، یک نهاد سیاسی پاکستان است به نام انصاف، اگر شنیده باشین نامشه. انصاف ختمش با دبل اف میشه، انصاف میه. یا چی کرده بودن که در اصلش فکر کنم هم کرکتر که هست عمران خان او قرار داره، یا گرفتن انصاف برایش یک دومین رجستر کردن insa.af. اینا .f مربوط افغانستان میشه، ولی نه از خاطر کمی چی خودم مکمل بکنن، انصاف.af جور کنن، از دومین .af خود افغانستان استفاده کنن. این بسیار یک کیس جالب بود. درست ما نمیفهمیم دیگه چقدر کیسا وجود داره که رقم ازی که دیگه ممالک خارجی یا باشندای ممالک خارجی به خاطر کارهای شخصی خود از این CCTLD استفاده کرده باشن. دیگه سوالا زیاد است. من متأکد هستم از خصوصا وقتی که اسپیکر داخلی ما و شما و از وطن خود ما و شما صحبت میکنه، کوشش کنید تمام سوالایتان پیشتان نوت کنین، پیشتان نگاه کنین. دیگه من نمیفهم خانم نادیه هاشمی در کجا رسیدن نرسیدن. اگر می بریک ما رفرشمنت جور شده باشه که ما بریم، خب فکر کنم خانم نادیه هاشمی رسیدن. خانم هاشمی یک نیم ساعت اگر اجازه بدین یک تی بریک بگیریم، همگی خسته شدن و شما ماندگیتان بگیرین، بعداً شروع میکنیم. درست است؟ یک تی بریک میگیریم.